Start spreading the news. I'm leaving.
No way. Oh, I can literally see the water moving.
That's crazy.
And I can't see the water moving.
How far out is that?
That's all the way out to the goal.
That's deep. That's easily over 1,000 feet. I mean, I'm underestimating. I'm underestimating.
Yeah.
I'm underestimating.
Maybe a mile, which is 5,000.
He's seeing a boat. He's seeing a boat.
Yeah, I don't see any.
Do you see that boat out there?
I can see something out there. I don't know if that's it though.
I don't know. I can't.
But I see something.
Well, let me show you where I'm pointing, and then you'll know if you're seeing it or not.
Oh no, I'm not seeing it.
Okay, I was looking at some.
Nobody's seeing shit.
But I can see it now. I can see that little tiny boat now.
That's crazy.
Holy! What kind of camera is this?
This is a Nikon P900. I'll show you something else too. Hang on.
That zoom.
Yeah, no, that zoom is crazy.
See that rack? Now, can you see that out there? That's called Cutter's Rock. That's 11.05 miles from Bayport. So we're in a couple of miles from Bayport, so that's actually out 13, 14 miles.
Holy crap.
That was a feat. That was a feat.
But you don't see it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know why? Because they tell you it's supposed to be over the curvature of Earth. Why do they call it sea level?
Because it's level. Because it's flat.
All water finds its own level. That's
Exactly.
actually the natural property of water, to find its own level. You fill up a coffee cup, the water goes level.
Doesn't stand top
Fill up
of
a
the cup.
bathtub, it's level.
You
Fill
can't
up a
pour it on a
pool, it's
ball.
level.
Like Bruce Lee.
And the only thing that affects the water is the wind blowing, right?
Yeah.
The wind blows, it quivers and moves and whatnot. That's where you get the tides rolling in, rolling out, and moving water. Plus two, you know, science tells you that the Earth is a globe. It's a ball. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. We're going around the sun at some unknown godly rate, and we're, you know, going around the Milky Way galaxy at 66,000 miles. And all this time, we're not only spinning, but we're swirling, twirling, and flying. But do you feel anything?
Nope.
You don't feel a damn thing,
I
right?
can feel it sometimes.
You know why? Because you'll never go up in a spaceship and look back at Earth and see that it's a spinning ball, so you believe it. Why? Because you were stolen away from your parents at 5 years old, put in a school,
Yes.
and indoctrinated into a belief system that you have no idea what they're teaching you is actually false. And the reason they teach it to you is to take you away from creation. That this was created for us to take care of, to maintain, and to protect this world, right? What are we doing today? War, more war, chemical warfare, drilling into the earth. You know how they showed you in the textbooks, they took a quarter of the chunk of earth out, right?
And show you like the mantle.
They show you all the way down to the core of earth.
Yeah.
How do they know that?
You can't go to the core.
You know the deepest hole they ever dug was?
I think it's in Russia or something.
Yep, 8 miles deep. But yet they can tell you in the textbook that there's this molten lava core of Earth, and it's made out of nickel or iron, they tell you. They don't know because they've never been down there, and they have no idea. So they teach you a false belief. Why? Because they don't want you to think that there's a creator. They taught you evolution, right? That you evolved from a single cell amoeba, you multiplied, mutated, right? Became some kind of a fish. Then you eventually crawled out of the waters, grew a damn tail. Somewhere along the line you became a monkey, and then you became a man, right? No, you were created in the image of God, the creator of this world, right? So I always say that they take you away from this creation. Why? Because they want to corrupt everybody's mind. And who's easier to corrupt, a child's mind at 5 years old, or an adult's mind when you get older like me and you look back on your life and you say, why the hell did I believe that in the first place?
Because you were taught and told.
Because that's what I was taught. It's an indoctrination to get you away from any other true reality.
100%.
We live in a flat world. Earth is flat. We live in a
Yeah,
plane.
because isn't the curvature less than 11 miles? Like they say the curvature you're supposed to.
At 6 feet, a man standing 6 foot tall at the water's edge,
Yeah.
right, is only supposed to be able to see about 3.15 miles. Somewhere in there. But I actually have video of that rack, right, down by Bayport, zoomed out, and I see not only this rack, but I've actually caught a boat going at least out all the way out in front of Hudson Beach. At shore level. And I have the proof to show it because it's on YouTube on my channel.
That's crazy.
I have a channel on YouTube,
No
and I'm
way.
a flat earther, okay?
Hell yeah.
And I'm honest. I don't tell people lies. I don't give them bullshit like some of these other flat earth
Yeah,
channels do. They feed you a bunch of lies,
Yeah.
and they mix it with truths. Okay, why?
That's how they
Because
get
that's
you.
exactly what science does. They mix truth with lies to get you to believe the lie. And then once they build up on that lie, right, they build from it.
Mhm.
They give you more lies on top of that lie, on top of that lie, to make you just believe it.
100%.
And we live in what I call a belief system. Why? Again, because they want to take you away from creation.
It's facts.
I mean, you guys are young. Who's the oldest one here?
I'm
You?
probably the oldest one. I'm 23.
23?
23.
Yeah. So you guys you're out of school. He looks like he's still in school. Are you? Just graduated?
Yeah.
And did you have a good science teacher?
I mean,
I had a good science teacher. Like I learned a
Kinda.
lot.
Who the
but
hell was my
I didn't learn
Mr.
like
Burger.
this other
Mr.
stuff,
Burger.
flat earth stuff, and all that
Yo.
stuff until after high school. Like
Oh, you actually
That man did not give a
researched
fuck.
a little bit into flat Earth.
I would say like I know conspiracies in general. I've researched
Right.
a lot, but
How about 9/11? What do you guys think about 9/11?
9/11 perpetrated by the Israelis and stuff. Like those motherfuckers.
What would you believe it?
Jews.
Maybe, it was definitely an inside job because you don't get 3 high-rise buildings fall directly down upon
The
their
one-
own footprint without demolition.
Yeah, the one fell and didn't even get hit by a plane.
Right.
So come on.
Building 7.
And then
Did you ever go back and research how well built that building was? The
that's what I
Twin
was about
Towers.
to say. It was able. There's no way that steel would have been penetrated by an aluminum plane. No fucking way.
You got it, and that's true because you can't. If you go back and look at how that building was built, those barriers, those windows were only this wide.
Yeah.
You could barely fit through one of those.
Yeah.
Everything in between it was steel beams. So now you got this aluminum airplane flying at it at, they say, 500 miles an hour. It's able to penetrate it and poke a hole in it like Roadrunner did through the wall, you know?
Poked a big hole.
It just don't work
And then
that
falls-
way. Physics won't allow it to happen.
And then falls free fall speed
Yeah,
completely into dust. It does not happen.
yeah, dustified.
Does not happen.
No.
Once, then twice, and then the third build.
That's where they think nano thermite was used.
Yeah, because they found it in the
Yeah.
pools of it in the
In the
bottom.
dust. Yeah, in the dust.
why do you think we did that though?
Because it allowed us to infiltrate the Patriot Act, which was able to strip away the Constitution.
Right. And also go attack Iraq.
And then put us into war overseas.
It's all, listen, we got what they call a military-industrial complex, right? They make weapons of mass destruction, number one. Now, you got these weapons of mass destruction. How do they sell them if there's no wars?
Exactly. So
Right.
you make a conflict.
Yeah, you create the conflict, and then you're able to sell all your weapons, right? And who buys them? All the countries, right? Mainly America. We buy a lot of them. Why? Because they were actually building them right here in our country. But they sell them to other countries for the big moolah. It's all about money. Money is the root to all evil, but you have to have it in the world, right? So, I mean, just because you have money doesn't mean that you're evil, because you have to have it in order to survive. There's no way around it.
But normally when you have a large accumulation of it,
Well, if you're using that money, or you're stealing that money, or you know, getting money through thievery, which they do, because it's all basically based on lies.
all corrupt.
Yep, corruption. Our politicians are what? You know, most of them are corrupted. They go in there they're just like us. They get in office, and before you know it, they're millionaires, right? How do they get that way? Lobbyists, lobbying to get laws passed in their favor to screw us. We are the taxpayers. You're a slave. I'm a slave. You're going to be more of a slave now because you're younger than I am. I've already kind of gone through my slavery. I only got a few more years left of slavery, and then I get to retire. into slavery though,
Yeah.
because they're still going to take money out of my Social Security, even though they've been taxing me all my life.
Right.
I started working when I was 14 years old as a summer vacation job,
Right.
and I've been having taxes taken out ever since.
That's fucking.
And I run my own business now, and I had a like 6 months of really slow business. It was when all the crap was going on with the economy.
Yeah.
So I went down and I tried to collect unemployment on myself. That I'd paid unemployment tax since I was 14 years old. Never collected a penny of unemployment. Never been unemployed my whole life. I go down and try to collect it. I'm denied.
Why?
Well, they wanted me to go out and apply for other jobs, lesser jobs, and I'm like, look, I run my own business. I just need it just to hold me over until business picks back up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, you know, you got to go out and fill out all these applications. You got to go here, go there. And I'm like, you know, you'll give it to somebody else, but you won't give it to the person that has paid for it their whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, 40 years I paid for it, and you ain't gonna give me none of it.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
Yeah. What?
You gotta wait.
The cushion's too strong.
Because I had to do unemployment. They made me try to go for 4 jobs a week.
Holy shit! Holy shit! That's a lot.
It was easy to finesse though. I would just look on Indeed jobs and tell them I applied.
Oh, okay. You didn't have to like go to an interview 4 times.
No. It would be online. They were just like, hey.
And what did you do to your knee?
So I tore my ACL.
And his other one too. What's your YouTube channel?
Wide Awake.
Wide Awake.
Wide Awake. Awake.
Wide Awake. Okay. I was like, that's a nice band name if you were in a Wide Awake.
Can I ask you a question?
You got to put in Wide Awake channel, otherwise you get all nothing but Katy Perry. And she actually has they actually have a video of her saying that she sold her soul to the devil.
I seen that, yeah.
And she did.
Yo, wait, what is it?
Subscribe.
Wide Awake, like
Wide Awake.
Wide Awake, like Katy
channel.
Perry,
You gotta
but
put in
not.
channel. And then that'll pop up.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of channels out there that do sell you a bunch of bullshit. There's some good channels out there, but when they start getting into these wild theoretical stuff, like there's one channel that says, hey, the horizon's only 1,000 feet away. Come on, I got navigation maps. I've fished this water for 25 years. I've been out there. I've been to every one of those channel markers. And I got all these channel markers that I've been videotaping on my camera for a long time.
yeah.
And there's no way somebody's going to tell me that they're only 1,000 feet away. And the clouds are 500 feet high.
I try and tell you.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, I think it's because that thing that he's holding. I even go out and zoom in on Saturn with this and got the rings of Saturn.
oh, really?
746 million miles away, science tells you it is.
No fucking way.
It ain't that far away.
Thanks.
The stars are fixed lights in the sky.
Well, that's
They're not planets. They look round, right? A plate is round, but is it a ball?
that's always
It's a disc.
when they say like there's no life in the solar system and shit, like that makes no sense to me. When you look at planet Earth, and you see all the
Plain
different
Earth.
variations of life that we have,
Yeah.
how could there not be variations of life somewhere else?
Well, when you said planet, right? How do you spell planet?
Plane.
PLA.
Plane with a T, a Christian cross at the end of it. Okay? I'm not a religious person, so don't get me wrong. I'm not a religious person, but I believe in creation.
Yeah.
Only
That's
because
yeah, exactly.
this just didn't happen by accident. We were here, put here.
Yeah.
There's
You know.
a lot of things that like do you know what Fibonacci is and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Math can't explain it all, though.
Can't.
You know, and they try to use that
Yeah.
to corrupt our minds again, saying that you can, you can solve all these problems of the world with math. No, you can't. You can't solve them. You can't solve the mysteries with math. It's crazy, but people, they're easily fooled, and they're easily fooled by that belief.
Oh, well, when you're born, I mean, you have your parents who tell you this is how it is. And you go to school, like you said, they say this is how it is.
And they stay. I'm going to break in here for a minute. I was actually really surprised to hear these young men There was 5 of them up there with me when they first came up the tower. I thought, oh my goodness, you know, I got these crazy ass kids gonna come up here and raise hell. And but they were really down to earth people. It was very nice talking to them, seeing how that they were awake, and it was surprising to me. But you know, it's good to see the younger generation thinking for themselves. I did want to say that too. I let my camera stop and shut off, and missed some of the conversation. But then I started up again after asking them if it was all right if I recorded their voices. They didn't seem to have any problems with it.
Someone walking on the moon, their way of walking is different. You'll have people jumping super lengths, then you'll have people kind of doing the moon walk. It's like, what is it?
Well, you know how they did that?
Why?
They slowed the film down 50%. People have taken that footage where they're walking, they're bouncing across the moon, and they doubled the speed, and it's just like a man hopping along at regular speed.
Yeah.
The lunar rover that they had up there, right?
Yeah.
That little dune buggy.
Yeah.
It peels out and it throws the dirt up, just like a dune buggy on the beach, right? Now you put that in regular speed,
Yeah.
double the speed, and it just looks just like a dune buggy on the beach.
That's
Because they did it in Hawaii or Arizona or out in some desert somewhere, and they fooled us all with it. They even made a couple of movies about it, about faking the moon landing. And that's Hollywood for you. They make money whether they tell you the truth or whether they lie
They like
to
to
you.
put it in front of you, but they do it subliminally.
Yep.
And they do it all the time.
Just like the 9/11 with Bart Simpson holding up the magazine to go to New York City on a tour. It had the 9 and then the World Trade, $9 and then the World Trade Center, the 2 towers, so it was 9/11.
Yeah.
Subliminal messaging. They put it in your mind. They put it right in your face, but they don't think that people are smart enough to catch it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I'm glad to see guys like you waking up to the lies that, and you seem to really be like hip to, you've done some research, I can tell.
I've been here for a minute. Yeah, it's just crazy, like, because I'd say these group of guys, like our group of friends, are probably the more late ones, so to speak, like very open-minded and shit. I don't know, man, it's crazy coming from me. Like, I was in high school, I was like 14, I took mushrooms, I took some psilocybin mushrooms, I had a trip, and it just opened my mind to so many possibilities that I had never even thought about.
Yep.
And from then, I went to like lucid dreaming, astral projection, doing things like that. That shit was wild. And I just started learning and researching all these different things from the internet, and I don't know, I was able to connect the dots.
And there's some flat earth channels out there that say you're a satanic guy for doing those mushrooms. They would.
Well, I mean,
And I really say, well, hey, look, we're all different, right? We are.
Yeah.
And we should be different, because if we were all the same, it'd be a pretty boring world, wouldn't it?
Would be.
I mean, we'd all be looking like a bunch of Bart Simpsons running around,
Yeah.
So I would rather us all be different, and you tried that. You had some wild experiences, and it did open your mind. So what's wrong with that?
Exactly.
I don't look down upon somebody that tried it. Now there's other drugs out there that I would not want nothing to do with.
Oh yeah, totally. 100%.
Some of that hard shit. I don't touch it. I don't touch it. Yeah, I want to say I don't promote drug use, but as a young teenager, I did try smoking some pot, and I did try the psilocybin mushroom, and these gentlemen were telling me about their experience, and I understand completely, where they stood as far as it was kind of like a mind opener, let you think a little freely for yourself instead of being stuck in this. And again, what I want to call the belief system, everything that we've been told, we automatically believe because we just don't question it. And also having my camera just turned on, not zoomed in on anything, just letting it just film what's out in front of me here as everything got darker. One of the things I did, I did have my compensation turned down a little bit on it. I think I was in like the sunset mode, so it was like -7. So things were pretty dark, near the ground and up close. Um, but again, the conversation with these young gentlemen was kind of refreshing, and I wanted to share it. I thought it was kind of pretty neat, and I thought maybe some of the other Flat Earth channels would enjoy hearing our younger generation give their perspective on what's going on in the world too today. All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
You guys are cool.
It's cool though. It's cool to see like older people too, because like a lot of our parents and stuff are just so asleep, and I just see so many old people that are just so stuck in the way because they're old. They've lived a life of 50, 60, 40 plus years, and they've been taught everything they know. And I think us, our generation, we lucked out because we're so into technology and stuff that it was easy for us to get onto the internet.
Yep.
And with the internet, there's just so many things that you can learn, and that's not what the older generations had.
Exactly. That's where I was at
Yeah.
50 years old. Actually, I think when they first came out with cell phones, hell, I had a bag phone.
Yeah.
I had one of
My
the
dad
old
had one of
original
those.
bag phones like they had in the military. That was a cell phone. And then, now I got this thing that's, say it's a smartphone. Why? Because it's smarter than I am. I can ask it anything and it'll tell me.
It's got a compass.
Now, again, if I believe what it says sometimes, though, I don't always believe. Like, I look at it and it says the time. Well, I believe that it's that time, yeah. Well, actually, I don't, because we got this stupid daylight savings time, which has always been made to throw our time clock off, our body time clock.
Yep, exactly. I say that all the time.
It's so pointless. The
Yeah.
daylight savings. I don't get it at whatsoever.
Well,
Because
so
it
you
throws
can
you
have
off the
longer
system.
work hours.
It throws you off.
You're a slave. Remember that. You're a slave to this system, and until and I say we because I can't do it myself. My wife's not into what I do.
Mm-hmm.
She just thinks I'm this conspiracy nut, right? Mm-hmm. And I look at her and I say, no, I'm awake. You're just wanting to sleep, and you don't want your little reality bubble popped. Because if you come out of your reality,
it hurts.
everything you've learned, you realize was a lie, and you got to start relearning. Because it's true. Everything you were taught was a lie.
It's hard for people to swallow that. It's really like I went.
They've had free energy.
Yeah.
Ever since Tesla.
Tesla, 100%.
Well, see there, you guys know about Tesla.
Yeah.
A lot of the older people have no idea who Tesla was.
You want to know why Thomas Jefferson was like such a rival to him, and like he executed those animals and stuff because he ran.
Thomas Edison.
Yeah, he ran.
Jefferson.
Yeah, I knew what he meant.
What did I say? What did I say? Thomas Jefferson?
Yeah.
Thomas Edison.
I got you.
He ran electricity using
DC.
Yes.
Direct current.
Yes. And what was bad about DC is that it wasn't wasn't efficient at all. It was so garbage.
What do we use today?
Whatever Tesla uses.
No, we use DC.
Yeah, we use
I thought
We
it was
use
AC.
Thomas
what
Edison's
Tesla
crap.
Yeah.
Why? Because they could put a meter on your house and charge you for every bit of that electricity that's inefficient to run your shit. If they would use Teslas, it would be cheap, and they can't put a meter on it because you can have free energy through the air.
Right now, we run through DC in our power.
Yeah.
Oh.
Direct current. You see these lines?
Yep.
It's direct current. If,
Yep.
like he just said, if we were using Teslas, it would be going through the air. You can literally, they would have...
You'd have a pole
Tesla
sticking up on
coils.
your house, and it would just absorb the electricity
Yeah.
through thin air, and it's free.
That's
Why?
what Tesla
Because they
was
can't
making.
put a meter on it. There's no way to put a meter on it. So you get free energy. It's all about keeping you enslaved, but you have to pay energy costs, gas bills. They even got cars that can run on nothing, water.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
everybody that's invented something to benefit mankind has either been bought out, they go and offer you billions of dollars for your patent.
And then they shelf it.
Yep, they shelf it or they burn it. Well, hell, we don't want anybody to get their hands on this because why? It put our big oil industries out of business. Corrupt oil mongrels. Because what they do is they buy out all your senators, your congressmen. You think Trump is for the people? Come on, he's playing.
None of them are.
The whole world's a stage.
Yep. It's crazy.
The whole world's a stage, man. All these people that are in leadership power are nothing but freaking puppets.
Yep.
2, and I say there's an adversary, right? Is it Lucifer? Is it the devil? Or is it a demons? Because, you know, you get the word dimension, right? Now we can go into this word thing, dimensions, right? And it's a demon, and it's in another plane.
Yeah.
It's something we can't see, but it's there. I live at the same time.
It's there, but we don't see it with our eyes, right? Because it's in another realm, right?
Another dimension. That's
right.
That's where they exist.
And they can every now and then come into our world, and then they got to go back out. And I actually had an encounter with one when I was 25 years old. It took me 25 or 20 years old. It took me 30 years to actually realize what happened. And when I did, it was like, whoa. What did it look like? It looked like a fucking alien, what they show you as an alien.
Yeah.
The oblong head, the big eyes, this is what this thing looked like. And it took me that long to look back and say, whoa, that shit was real. I thought it was a dream. It wasn't a dream, man, because it happened twice. I was frozen, I could not move, I was paralyzed. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but whisper was coming out. I was screaming in a whisper. And I know I woke up because I got up, I smoked 2 or 3 cigarettes, I was looking at the windows were all frosted. I laid back down, and this thing was back beside me again. And I closed my eyes and I said, God, please save me. It was gone in an instant. I jumped back up, turned on the lights, watched the ice melt off the window. The room warmed up like 20 more degrees. And I was like, holy shit. You know, and again, like I said, it took me 40 years or 30 years to realize what actually happened back then. And I think it was a demon, and what they want is your soul. And what do we walk on? What do they call these? They want you to walk on your soul. Really? Putting rubber on your feet on the ground, they say, will save you from a lightning strike, right? But really, it's taking your feet away from the connection to Mother Earth. Yeah, the Earth puts out a vibration. And that vibration...
You be walking barefoot all the time. Yeah, barefoot.
Good for you.
All day.
Good for you. I used to be nothing but a barefoot kid.
All day.
Yeah. Now I got tender feet because I wore shoes because of the work I do. Yeah. I had to wear shoes, but...
Bro, it's crazy because I say this all the time. I be telling them, like, I be saying, yo, we must have gotten infiltrated a long time ago. An alien, something from somewhere else. That's
thousands
not
of years
us.
ago.
Because there's no way that our species, I feel like, would do this much damage to everything. Something must have came in, you know, infiltrated, you know, the humans in power, something, whatever, I don't know, whatever happened.
Power and corruption.
And they have been running this show for thousands of years.
The Rothschilds,
Yep.
the Bilderbergs, the Warburgs,
Rockefeller.
the Rockefellers. Oh yeah.
Rockefeller is one of the biggest ones.
Oh.
They are.
He knew about 9/11. Aaron Russo, he's got a video out. I think it was called Mad as Hell, something like that, where he gets into where he tells a story about David Rothschild having a conversation, invited him out for dinner, and told him not to go to New York City during that particular month. Said something was going to happen during that month, and people were going to die, a lot of people, and that all the people that, some people think that nobody died in 9/11. There was 3,000 people that died, and it was called they did it as a sacrifice to Baal, Baal, right?
Yeah.
That was the name for Satan, or the devil, was Baal. Or not just Satan. He had many names, right? And what was one of them? He says, I am not one, I am of many. And that basically means he's more than one. He's multiple. The devil, Satan, Lucifer, all of them. And you don't think he exists, but he does. And they don't want, see, this is one thing, science don't want you to believe in God because they don't want you to believe that Satan exists, because they don't want to make you think that you're being corrupted or in any way. They want you to just keep going on with your slavery, keep being a good slave, walk that line, don't go and do what freedom is supposed to be about. As long as you don't hurt somebody, right? As long as you're not going out there physically hurting somebody, you should be able to do almost anything you want. You know, anything. You know, because that's freedom, right? That's true freedom to be able to do whatever you want. But we have all these laws, right? And who do the laws benefit? The courts, the circuit judge, right? It's a profitable business.
Oh yeah.
A cop he extorts you. He writes you a ticket because you weren't wearing a seatbelt. That's 120 bucks for not wearing a seatbelt. But meanwhile, this guy on a motorcycle can drive around without a helmet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why? Because the motorcycle groups, right, got together and paid off the law. They have a lobbyist that worked for them. They got them to get that law wiped off the books so they can ride around with no helmet. Now, I think they should be able to ride around with no helmet. Just like I don't think I need to wear a seatbelt every time I go